Welcome back, family. You are tuned into Turning Hustle into a Legacy, where grind meets purpose and purpose meets elevation. Now, today, I was kind of stepping into a level that most people talk about, but very few are willing to commit to. I'm talking about the GOAT blueprint. It's a mindset, it's mastery, and it's motion. Because becoming a GOAT doesn't happen accidentally, baby. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen because people like you. It happens because you decided to walk different, think different, show up different, and out-discipline everybody in your lane. Let's just talk about it, okay? What it really takes to become legendary. So, for me, I will speak on what I thought was best from my understanding as a GOAT mindset, okay? You cannot have GOAT results with a regular mindset. There's no way. Everybody knows I'm abnormal, okay? Or if anything, I'm not normal, okay? Which is the same as abnormal, right? You can't think average. You can't move average, and you definitely can't expect average. And then be shocked when your life look average. Like, no, a GOAT mindset requires three things. One is laser focus. Like straight laser focus. You focus so tight that distractions feel disrespectful. Okay. You focus so strong that people think you're acting funny. But see, GOATs don't explain their grind. They let results speak and surround the sound. You can't become great if everything pulls at your attention. Every argument, every emotion, every trend, every person with a loud opinion, every distracting disguise is an opportunity. That's just, for example, with the Instagram. My book, I'm a Holder CEO, it got almost 200,000 views, about 200 comments, 5,000 shares. And when I start to look at the comments and seeing a lot of negative shit and a lot of positive too, but it was a lot of negative. It was 50-50. I had to pull back because you don't want to entertain every disagreement or every, loud opinion that's on social media. So GOATs guard their focus like a bank vault. Like you guard it so tough, like it's just wrapped up in so many chains. There's no key that can unbreak it. Okay. GOATs believe in themselves at a level that makes other people uncomfortable. And I have to say this again. And I need people that may be average. And there's nothing wrong with being average. Let's be clear. But don't get mad at the people that's not, right? So GOATs believe in themselves at a level that makes other people uncomfortable. It's not ego. It's an alignment. You have to believe you can be the best. You got to believe you can build something powerful. You deserve elevation, and you can win every single thing you decide to play, even when you're losing. Okay. Some people might call it delusional until it becomes their reality. Like I had DTB on there. In her mind, she said she knew she wanted to be a rapper. That was her dream. She's a rapper. She started off on different platforms, baddies, and, and just owning a strip club, doing her own thing, being a CEO, but she's actually living out her dream. And everyone that's not average is not going to have those feelings. Everybody may not be a rapper, even though that may be your dream. But I will say this. Once it's reality, that's when it's time let's get into isolation season. Let me say this clearly. You cannot become a GOAT while being accessible to everybody. Okay? Your circle shrinks, your tolerance changes, your energy becomes selective. Like you definitely decide on who you decide to want in your life, and just take the energy from you. Like your peace becomes priceless. Everyone does not deserve front row access to your evolution. Isolation may be a punishment, but it's definitely a preparation. And the art of being undeniable is that everybody wants to be a GOAT. Everybody. But very few want to master anything. To become undeniable, you must build a mastery, right? I said mind, mastery. Let's talk about it. Let's break that down in like 3 truths. So GOATs study their craft. Let's be clear. Like you cannot wing your way to greatness. Like GOATs obsess over improvement. Like there's never enough. Okay. Sometimes that could be a downfall because you don't want to turn that into greed. So be careful. But the study is that it's the game, the patterns, the mistakes, the greats before them, and like the areas they're weak in. Mastery is definitely fucking boring. It's repetitive work. It's unrewarded. But that's the thing. The work that will make it elite is what you seek. Okay. Goats outwork and they outprepare. Talent will get you noticed, period. But mastery gets you remembered. Let's be clear. You know, people think it's luck. No, they don't see that. You know, they don't see the late nights and the restarts, the burnouts, the failed attempts. Okay. Them private breakdown moments where you just like, Lord, help me today. Goats, we don't chase the applause. We just don't chase it. You know, it becomes excellence. You know, you can't call yourself a goat. It's up to the world to call you that, right? So I would say this: goats will stay a student. The moment you think you know everything, you decline. Everything declines because you don't really know shit. I have to tell myself that. But I'll say this: goats, they stay hungry, they stay curious, and they stay humble enough just to learn, but confident enough to lead, if that makes sense. You know, mastery is not a destination. It's a daily decision that you need to decide if that's where you want to be. Okay? It takes time away from your family. You know, you have to go into your own bubble. Husband tell me all the time, you just created your own bubble. You goddamn right. Only Audra live there. Okay? Because guess what? That's the safest space. Straight like that, to where I can think and get my mind right. So I can create and build the mastery so I can become and stay afloat so I can be a goat. Hello? Okay. So the last one to me was motion, because greatness requires movement. So we got mind, we got mastery, and now we got motion. A mindset without movement is wasted potential. Mastery without motion is hidden power. So goats move a little differently. They move a little differently. They take imperfect actions by, you know, technically goats don't wait for perfect. They move now. And I would say that comes with being extremely impulsive. And sometimes, again, that could be another downfall. I am extremely impulsive. Sometimes it has got me wins, but it also has gotten me losses. Okay. And I'll say that for different businesses, being a serial entrepreneur, I have definitely, by being so impulsive, created businesses. And of course, in my mind, I don't never start nothing without finishing. But sometimes stuff get old and other things oversee those new businesses you created. So it is no choice but to overlook it, because guess what? It's not bringing in that financial stability you're looking for. So sometimes imperfect is not always a bad thing. Perfect can be a bad thing sometimes, right? So to me, I feel like a goat don't wait for perfection. They move right now. They learn by doing it, okay? Even if they fail forward. You know what I mean? But they grew through that execution. You have to try. And perfection is a dream killer. Motion is a destiny builder. Facts. Okay? So I think in order to be consistent, when you don't feel like it, when it comes to being perfect in everything you do, it's not going to work. But long as I feel like you try, you know, this is where most people lose, to be honest. When they're consistent, when they don't feel like it, you lose. You know, they move, they're motivated, but then they're not committed. So goats show up even when they tired, life is heavy, the results are slow, the crowd is silent. It don't matter. Like, consistency is a real fucking flex. When you consistent, you know, I struggle with that with working out. I'll start hard, bow, even when I'm tired, even when shit's heavy, when the crowd is silent and, you know, results are slow, I'm still like, oh, I could go, but then the consistency falls off. That's not flexing. But when it comes to that business, the bitch stay consistent. But that's still, I can't have a great business if I don't have good health. So consistency is all the way around when it comes to a goat. It's not just growing businesses and, flourishing in some of the talents that you may utilize. No, it's all the way around. The big flex is when you stay consistent in anything you do. Okay. And then you create a momentum. Ghosts, they don't really do one thing and sit down. They stack wins, small wins, daily wins, private wins. You know, the motion creates that confidence. Confidence creates discipline, and then discipline creates results. You know, I just talked about this on the last episode. Momentum gonna create that greatness. So one small win can shift your whole life. You know, just like DTB on the interview. One move. You know, she didn't even know she'd be a rapper. She started as a stripper. Guess what? She a rapper now. She doing it. Working with some big dogs, okay? So listen, GOAT energy is just skill. It's not just a skill. It's identity. It's internal. The shit's spiritual. It's mental. It really is. It's being a GOAT is like you got to have silence over validation. You don't need an applause. Your spirit is always convinced. You don't need to get approvals from folks to know if you're right or wrong. You're going to stand in your truth and stand on business. You don't brag. You know what I mean? Sometimes you even take humility over ego. You know, your results kind of do it for you. So what? You don't you don't overcome the comfort of pressure. So comfort makes you average, but pressure makes you legendary. Purpose is just over popularity. You don't care about none of that. You don't move, for likes. You don't move for legacy. No. Even if nobody supports you, you support you. And then just GOAT's not loud. They undeniable. And that's just what it is, folks. So I'm going to leave you with this. You don't become a GOAT by accident. You become one by decision, by discipline, self-respect. It's a mindset, it's mastery, and it's motion. So this is your blueprint. This is your elevation plan. This is your transformation. Because the minute you decide to stop playing small, the minute you choose excellence over excuses, the minute you show up differently, your GOAT era begins. All right, this is Turning Hustle into Legacy with Dr.Stance. Remember, greatness is not a title, it's a lifestyle. I'll see y'all next episode.